Welcome everyone to the Wake Up Call channel. There's a reason that there's a saying that a picture is worth 1,000 words. And all of these photographs that keep coming out of Donald Trump, which again, I showed you him saying, wait, wait, wait. Everybody out there has seen how he strategically staged that photograph. But what most people don't know is that the news, of course, is fake. It's scripted. It doesn't mean people aren't caught in the line of fire. But the news itself is manufactured. It's meant to manufacture you and to manufacture your behavior. Donald Trump is being propped up as a modern day prophet, and conservatives and Christians do not see it. And that picture of Donald Trump, if we look very closely, we can see how strategically this blood was placed on his mouth. Now, people out there will say, well, that's just, you're going too far. What are you saying? He was underneath the table and he was putting this makeup on his face. A lot of people out there obviously have seen all the pictures of him with his hand and his ear where he has no blood on his hand after touching his ear. But everybody saw Donald Trump underneath the table for a period of time. And underneath that table, we were told while that was happening that Donald Trump was putting his shoes on. By shoes, did they really mean makeup? Because this picture, this image, what nobody's noticing and everybody's staring right at this image, is deception in plain sight. And the blood that is positioned on his mouth, nobody goes, how did the blood get all the way down there? Well, we're supposed to believe that it trickled from his ear all the way down to his mouth, even though you can clearly see the gaps in between from his mouth to his ear where there is no blood. And it looks, if you pay attention, which nobody is, just like the serpent's tongue. And that is very important to remember. So if you're new to this, let me explain. Signs and symbols rule the world, not words nor laws. This channel has been censored year after year, month after month, as most of the subscribers on this channel know. What I have exposed over the years, one of many things, is signs and symbols. Signs and symbols are in front of us every single day, but nobody pays attention to them. Corporations, signs and symbols, logos that we think are all there because of branding, are all there so that these people can reveal themselves in plain sight, so they can communicate with one another through signs and symbols. Now, everybody has seen the collages, and if you haven't, it's a good time to start paying attention, of every single celebrity holding up a hand over their eye, holding a 666 symbol up over their eye. Of course, they're referencing Lucifer, the eye of providence, the eye that you see on the back of the dollar bill. It is not a coincidence that all of these celebrities are doing this. It is not a coincidence. And when people like Roseanne or any of these conservatives who get caught with their hand in the cookie jar get exposed as being in the club, they tell you that the photographer just asked them to do this goofy pose and they just decided to give in and do the pose, of course. And that is not what's really occurring here. This is them revealing themselves. This is universal law. The devil and his minions are to reveal themselves in front of all of us. It's just a matter of whether or not you're processing this or not. So the way that the blood is positioned on Trump's lip, look at his lips. He even has blood on his upper and lower lip, right? Nobody asked why his lip looks like it's bleeding. So his blood was supposed to be rushed from his ear all the way down. And again, the majority of people who don't believe this event believe that he used a ketchup packet or something along those lines. Whatever you want to believe, it's very clear that this event was completely staged. And this should be an event, just like the 11th day of September, that should wake a lot of people up. And what's frightening about it is more Christians seem to be deceived than ever. But people who were not conspiracy theorists, people who do not question the news, are now suddenly questioning the news. So this is a good chance for them to learn how all of this stuff works. So as far as the serpent goes, why Donald Trump would have this looking just like that. That's exactly what everybody who sees this picture who's awake thinks when they see this picture of him, right? You think of a serpent's tongue. In the book of Genesis chapter 3, right? We think immediately of the serpent in the garden, the temptation and the fall of man. Genesis chapter 3. Now the serpent was more cunning than any beast of the field, which the Lord God had made. And he said to the woman, has God indeed said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said to the serpent, we may eat the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, you shall not eat it, nor shall you touch it, lest you die. Then the serpent said to the woman, you will not surely die, for God knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. in Genesis chapter 3, verse 22. And of course, that number 322 is probably one of the most, if not the most significant number to the occult because of Genesis chapter 3, verse 22. Skull and Bones use that number. We know that a lot of false flag staged events happen on March 22nd. And in that verse, it says, "Then the Lord God said, Behold, the man has become like one of us, to know good and evil. And now lest he put out his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever." Now, in the book of Revelation, in chapter 12, verse 9, in Revelation chapter 20, verse 2, we are told that the serpent is indeed Satan. In Revelation 12:9, "So the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan, who deceives the whole world. He was cast to the earth, and his angels were cast out with him." In Revelation chapter 20, verse 2, he laid hold of the dragon, that serpent of old, who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. The serpent and the serpent's tongue, just like the all-seeing eye, just like the 666 sign, these signs and symbols mean so much to them and revealing themselves to you every single time they take a photo, for the most part, or on a magazine cover or in any prominent shot, just like this strategic photo of Trump. They will reveal who they truly are to their master. They will show these things. The tongue, the serpent tongue, is clearly put on Donald Trump's face strategically. That same tongue you see in the NASA logo, right? NASA, what does it mean? NASA means to deceive. The deception of space is one of the theories that the devil has created to make people believe in the theory of evolution, which is nothing more than make-believe. NASA is nothing more than a front for many other things that most people could not possibly comprehend, which I cover many times on the website, which you cannot cover here on YouTube. And again, the website is uprisinglives.com for anybody that wants to go over there and sign up. Join the mailing list. You'll get email notifications of the actual website, which I'm not allowed to post on any platform anymore, which is why it's called Uprising Lives. It's one and the same for anybody out there that's wondering if it's a new website. It's not. It's the same website. So, Donald Trump. Again, we talk about the serpent's tongue. Donald Trump, also somebody who's going to be using the Space Force in the future to deceive many Christians into the alien deception, possibly using something like Project Bluebeam. Remember now, with Project Bluebeam, watching how Christians have responded to Donald Trump over the years, especially now after the fake assassination attempt. If Donald Trump comes out and tells them that Project Bluebeam is the Messiah, those people will believe it. They will believe whatever he says. They don't realize that they're deceived. You see how deep in it they are after this has occurred. He is the ultimate snake oil salesman. So over the years, the serpent's tongue is a common thing that most people don't notice, right? We've seen, obviously, Marina Abramovich and a lot of these Satanists do photography with snakes on them. It's not because they love snakes, the actual reptile. It's because they love their father, the devil. That's who they are of, their father, the devil. Obviously, the most notorious is Gene Simmons holding out the serpent's tongue. But people don't notice that every single celebrity is actually pretty much, you could find them if you look. You could find them doing this pose, right? Lady Gaga, Lady Barfbag doing the serpent's tongue. They do this on the red carpet a lot, and they don't expect you to actually notice it. Why don't they expect you to notice it? Because they want you to think it means rock and roll or something along those lines, right? Jared Leto, one of the most obvious Satanists out there. Jared Leto, somebody who I know took down a certain YouTuber's channel that had over 550,000 subscribers and was getting videos flagged for bullying, for calling out the obvious signs and symbols. He's always doing the serpent tongue. He's always showing you signs and symbols, right? Even that bracelet that he's wearing, that red bracelet, which shows you he's a part of the tribe, right out in the open. The tribe he's in, well, go to the website, watch some of the videos about the red bracelet and why all of these celebrities wear that red bracelet. Again, Miley Cyrus, serpent's tongue, right? Katy Perry, serpent's tongue. They always strategically do this. Somebody doesn't just go up to them with a camera and say, smile, take a picture. And they're not just going, okay, right? As if that's the, the pose that they're trying to do. And of course, other people out there think that they do the tongue, the serpent's tongue, because they think it's some type of sexual some type of sexual undertone to it. Is that why Albert Einstein's doing the serpent's tongue? Or is this just Albert Einstein telling us that he's a goofball, right? He's like, everybody thinks I'm a serious scientist. Let me stick my tongue out, right? Because the tongue is the serpent's tongue. We've seen Madonna maybe one of the most renowned Satanists who also wears that red bracelet, doing the serpent's tongue. We've seen Nicki Minaj, Avril Lavigne, of course, one of the most popular people in today's society, Taylor Swift, who plays the innocent cookie cutter role, just a nice person, always sticking out the tongue, and nobody thinks anything of it. They think that she's just being a goofball, right? But when you see the pattern here, your brain starts to open. The layers start to come off of the onion, so to speak. You start seeing repetition and patterns. You say to yourself, why are they all doing that? Why do they do that? Because you're not supposed to notice that they're doing it. You're not supposed to point it out. You're supposed to just see it in real time and not realize that you're under a spell, because most of the time you're in a delta state. You know, you're not in a conscious state of thinking, and they're doing it right in front of your face, right? Johnny Depp doing the serpent's tongue to Donald Trump's mask. Johnny Depp, who I've covered a million times in all those videos I've done before the fake assassination attempt, where Johnny Depp has said, would it be cool if, when's the last time an actor assassinated a president, referencing himself assassinating Trump, which of course is all part of the game. They pretend they keep you in the left-right paradigm. They instigate, right? Johnny Depp instigating to the conservatives and gaslighting them and getting all the liberals fired up to get rid of Trump, right? There he is licking the mask of Donald Trump, right? With the serpent's tongue. We've seen Eminem, who they've recently rolled out. I've done a bunch of videos on him over the years, all available on the website as well, doing the serpent's tongue. Is he just being a goofball too? When he's hanging out with his girlfriend and they're both doing it, or whoever he's with, and you can see he's doing all-seeing eye symbolism as well by closing the one eye with the serpent's tongue. We've seen Selena Gomez. I mean, I could go on and on and on and show you almost every celebrity you could find doing something over their eye, holding up one eye symbolism. You could find them all doing the shh symbolism. You could find them all doing the serpent's tongue, right? Beyonce, one of the most famous ones out there, doing the serpent's tongue all the time. Brad Pitt. These are not goofball photos. This is them either on magazine covers, on red carpets. These are strategically done, right? Celebrity after celebrity after celebrity. Rihanna, Justin Timberlake, the guy from Coldplay. You get the point, right? You get the point. That is the serpent's tongue. And Donald Trump, of all the people we've seen, what we could most affiliate him with as far as occult symbolism is the serpent. It is the serpent. Why? Because Donald Trump is known for this poem that he gives all the time. He gives this poem, or I should say, he reads this poem called The Snake. And they tell us it was penned by civil rights activist Oscar Brown Jr. in 1963. And Trump is able to get away with this out in the open because he has his convinced audience who, again, the devil is the author of confusion. The devil is a liar. He's been a liar and a murderer from the beginning. And guess what? So are all his minions. In John chapter 8, verse 44, ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And all of the devil's minions, like Trump and all these people, are nothing but liars. It's amazing to me that these people think that, I mean, even if the devil showed up with a sign, a tattoo on his chest that he was the devil and he was this big red thing with horns on him, I don't think these people would believe it. Which makes me wonder, what do Christians actually think of all these warnings in the Bible about lies and deception, right? Do they realize that the hypnosis that they're under, the reason they support Trump so much, is done psychologically to them by design, by the devil himself, the prince of the power of the air, hence the air waves? Do they not realize when Trump is reading this poem that I'll play for you again about the snake? Listen closely to the poem, that he is referencing himself as the snake. He's not referencing the border. He's not referencing what's going on there. They're deceiving you right to your faces. He's talking about himself.
So I read this the other day, and I said, wow, that's really amazing. That's really incredible. And it's the snake lyric. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. Interesting. His pretty-colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. Oh, well, she cried, I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman. Sighed the vicious snake. She wrapped him up cozy in a curvature of silk, and then laid him by the fireside with some honey and some milk. Now she hurried home from work, and that night, as soon as she arrived, she found that pretty snake she'd taken and revived. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. Now she clutched him to her bosom. You're so beautiful, she cried. But if I hadn't brought you in, by now you might have died. She stroked his pretty skin, and then she kissed and held him tight. But instead of saying thank you, that snake gave her a vicious bite. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. I saved you, cried the woman, and you've bit me. Heavens, why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die. Oh, shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in. Does that make sense to anybody? Does that make any sense? Does that make sense? I mean, you know, and hopefully that's not going to be the case, but it's pretty. I read it and I just sort of put it together. We have no idea what we're doing. We have no idea who we're taking in, and we better be careful. Okay.
And again, these people could show you themselves, reveal themselves, and people are just idol worshiping like we've never seen before. That's really what it comes down to. There is mass idol worshiping going on with Donald Trump. And these people, again, they will not admit that it's idol worship. They don't realize what idol worship is. They don't know this man. They've never met this man. They act as if this man lives in their home. They act as if this man sleeps on their sofa or in their bed in some cases with them because they're under hypnosis, because the television set. The same reason that most of these people worship a lot of these celebrities and think that they know them and they cry when they see them. It's hypnotism. And unfortunately, Christians are falling for the lies of the devil. And Trump, this photograph of him with the blood smeared like that could not be more strategic. It could not be more set up. But the common person would not believe. They'd be like, well, he's got to get underneath the table. And then what? He'd have to look in a mirror and he'd have to put this on his mouth just like that. And they can't grasp that, right? But if you were watching a live play and somebody got shot in a live play, right? And then suddenly he's got blood on his face and coming out of his chest, would you think anything of it? No, you wouldn't. You would look and you'd be like, oh, okay, he got shot now. He's bleeding. We're watching a play. I mean, you wouldn't have to think, oh, how did he get the blood out on his chest? And how did they do that? Because you're watching a performance. You're not even thinking like that. But when you bring it up in situations like this, they go, what? You think he was underneath there? Well, if everything is staged, why wouldn't this part of it be staged as well, strategically? The serpent. It's a common theme that we see with Donald Trump. But people, again, when I talk about everyone being compromised, that's one of the big arguments that most of them give, right? How could they all be in on it? Because in their mind, they think all these people are getting voted in at the ballot box. So then it would be like, oh, all these people were voted in by us, and they're all members of secret societies. Well, that's the illusion, is that your vote counts. Okay? These people are put in these positions. They're all members of the same secret societies. There's a brotherhood that they're loyal to. They're loyal to each other. Go back to the quote that I always read you from who? From Truman, the same man who declared Israel a state in 1948. Keep that in mind. The same man who declared Israel a state, who is a Freemason guilty of treason, is quoted as saying, although I hold the highest civil honor in the world, I have always regarded my rank and title as a past Grand Master of Masons, the greatest honor that had ever come to me. The brotherhood over the presidency. The brotherhood over all. And these people on the left and the right are in these positions of power, which a lot of people, again, can't grasp, via being in secret societies. They've been placed in these positions, then presented to you out in the public, like, oh, this is so-and-so, he's a Christian, this person's a Democrat, so they're not a Christian, they're pro-life, they're not pro-life, keeping you divided by all of these mechanisms that they've put in place, making you think that everybody's racist and everything else, right? That's why it's so important for them to keep the illusion that your vote counts. Because if everybody realized that these people put themselves in these positions to rule over us, then the people would unite. They wouldn't look at each other based on their political affiliation or skin. They would look at each other as civilians against a tyrannical government. And they don't want you to realize that. It's very easy to figure out when you understand how they've networked through secret societies, how they've been placed in these positions of power, and how they control the news. They control all the political positions. Even in small city councils, they control it, folks. Okay, there's a Freemason lodge in your town. Eastern Star is the female version. They're witches. Their logo is the pentagram upside down, the same one used by the Satanists and the Satanic Temple and every other Satanist out there. Okay? Pay attention. This stuff that's happening right in front of us is being revealed to us. They don't expect you to see the signs and the symbols. Trump's tongue, or his blood, I should say, making the tongue like that, was strategically done. And him reading the poem over and over and over again, not one time. It's not one time Trump read this poem. It's over and over and over again. It's notorious with Trump now, the poem, because they're getting it right. I mean, they're telling you right out in the open that he's the snake and he's going to deceive. And who is he going to deceive? Christians. And who is he deceiving right now? Christians. And how unhinged are most Christians who are not, who are watching people like us, who are speaking against the mainstream media and the government in general? They're unhinged beyond belief because they don't even realize they've been trained to be communists, trained to worship the party, the Republican Party. They're bothered by this. And the fact that you're not, as a Christian, engaged in the left-right paradigm bothers them. And if you're a Christian not calling this divine intervention, as you've all seen, because you watch other channels, obviously, how many of them have you seen where the preachers are telling their congregation it's divine intervention? And even saying, if you question if it's divine intervention, maybe you don't understand God. That's how sick the psychosis is. Don't fall for the psychosis. The devil and his minions are operating right in front of us on a day in and day out basis. And like I said earlier, the old quote from Confucius, signs and symbols rule the world, not words nor laws. They reveal themselves every single day right in front of our faces, not just through their actions, through signs and symbols. I thank you all for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.